day. Today's a good day. Seth Greenberg's with us. We'll get into it now and really break down the game. So, as we know, the big dance is over, and who is left standing? UConn, Bleed Blue, Connecticut wins its 5th national championship since 1999 in a 76-59 win against San Diego State. It was a dominant showing for the Huskies, who became the 5th team since the bracket expanded in 85 to win all 6 tournament games by double digits on the way to a championship. Let's hear from Dan Hurley in Sunogo.
This is our vision. This is our dream. This is what we talked about when we recruited these guys, that we could get together and do something big like this. And it's just great to come through on promises made to players and to this university.
I have a chance to be in the Final Four, and I definitely, I think I'll bring my family proud, and it's something that I will never forget in my life.
God, I love that kid. His story's unbelievable. Stephen A., don't look now, but UConn favored to repeat as national champs in 2024, according to Caesars Sportsbook. They're plus 1,200 to win the title and hope to become the first team to repeat as national champs since Florida did it in 06-07. Coach Seth Greenberg is with us. And, Coach, let me just say one thing. We plan on being dominant for a long time because Dan Hurley just signed an extension. And what's unbelievable, Stephen A., is, as you know, I just celebrated a birthday Friday, so this feels like a birthday present. Which one's my camera here? Feels like a birthday present that UConn won. And what's even more unbelievable is Hurley is now extended through March 31st, 2029, my birthday again. So it's just really a special day.
Oh, you said you're going to do all of that? You're going to tell everybody how old you are? No, you're not. Thank you. That's it. Of course not. You don't need to tell. I'm just joking. You don't ask the lady how old she is. I know the rules. I was just messing with you.
Stephen, hey, I'm 29 again.
Yes.
Coach.
They're one of those schools that can repeat. There's no doubt about it. And you say, well, they can repeat. Obviously, they won this season. But, yeah, they're poised because they got a top 5 recruiting class, and they're going to have a good portion of these guys return. I think Andre Jackson's going to return. I think they got, obviously, Klingon is going to return, who's going to be maybe the most dominant center in college basketball next year. Alex Caravan is going to return. So they're going to have championship pedigree. But the most important reason I say this is because of who they are and how they do what they do. Dan Hurley has reestablished the standard of what is Connecticut basketball. And he is unrelenting in holding his team to that standard each and every day. He's unrelenting in holding his staff to that standard each and every day. If you go and watch them practice, what they do and how they do it on a daily basis, he's not afraid to coach his guys hard because he has this incredible relationship off the court because he cares about him and spends so much time with him. So, look, you've got a great university, you've got great facilities, you've got tremendous tradition, and you've got a guy that has a vision, and he is not satisfied. And I said this earlier today, and it's kind of extreme. He's got a little bit of Nick Saban in him. He doesn't have all those championships, but in terms of his single-mindedness and his focus, his attention to detail, his ability to push and challenge players, yet have them respond is second to none.
Well, first of all, I think you're stepping out there just a touch, Coach. I really, really do. I mean, he is the reigning defending national champion.
I didn't say was. I said like.
Let me say this here. Well, there's a lot of coaches that I like that in terms of personality, but in terms of how it resonates with the kids, that's a different matter. And in Hurley's case, it clearly resonates with those kids, and it was great seeing Bobby Hurley Sr. in attendance. I mean, seeing Dad there, seeing his big brother there. Listen, his brother's a 2-time national champion, one of the great college point guards in history, which Dan Hurley came on the show and made sure to echo to us a couple of weeks ago, right when the tournament was beginning. Much respect and props to him and to UConn. I was kind of depressed watching this game only from this standpoint. When it comes to a championship game, I like competition, and I give San Diego State a lot of props for coming back when they were down, but you just saw, when you know basketball, Coach, you know this, when they went on their run after they were down 10-6, and they went on their run, and they haven't went out a field goal for 11 minutes and 14 straight shots. You're just looking at San Diego State. He's like, too small. You don't have.
You know what, Stephen A., I want to apologize to you because I do feel bad that we're just so good and so much better than everyone else.
You want, but I'm just saying.
I just apologize. How we just ran
I would
through
tell you
everyone.
this. I would tell you this. When you think about the big time, there's certain times with the mid levels and all of that stuff. You just look at certain programs. You look at a game. Look at San Diego State. They got talent. There's no doubt about that. But when you looked at Sonogo, when you looked at these brothers and the size and clinging like you just brought them up, I'm like, it's like trees. It's like you got to make shots. You hit the first two, 3 quarters of the game. And like, okay, that's what they're going to need to do in order to pull off the victory. And you just didn't see that happen. But to answer the question, is UConn poised to repeat? I'm here to tell you that the answer is yes. Because the reality is that when you think about, like you said, how they play, they're going to play big boy basketball. You're going to get solid guard play because Hurley is going to demand it. You don't want somebody who's turnover prone. You certainly don't want people that can't handle the rock, okay? But when you're willing to play big boy basketball, we're going to throw the ball inside. We're going to attack you from the interior. We're going to rebound. We're going to get out on three-point shooters. We're going to defend and force you into congestion in the paint where we've got trees waiting for you. It is tough to overcome. And in order to do that, you've got to have somebody incredibly special and elite who can offset that or answer with big boys of your own. Certainly it can happen in college basketball. These are kids we're talking about. But at the end, it's one and done as opposed to a best 4 or 7. But in the end, when you look at UConn, the way that they're built, Coach, I can't deny it. I definitely think they're destined. They should be the favorites to repeat. They really, really should.
Yeah, and we talk about the dominance, Molly, of this game, but every time they've been pushed, because listen, hey, San Diego State cut it to 5, all right, and Miami cut it to 7 in the second half. And what happened? All right, they always respond. All of a sudden, Jordan Hawkins comes off that little pitch back, boom, knocks down that 3, 5 goes to 8, and then they finish the game off. And to me, if you see how they play, Stephen, and you did a great job of explaining who kind of their identity of what they do and the physicality and how they do it. They also play different offensively. They don't just run ball screen offense. I mean, the ball's moving, people are moving, guys are cutting, coming out of timeouts. They're getting the ball exactly where they wanted to, who they wanted. Like, their preparation is next level. Their execution is next level. And their recruiting now, especially since they won this national championship, is going to be next level. Mm-hmm. They've got everything in place to maintain a level of excellence, including a guy that can flat out coach in Danny Hurley.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for me, it matters how many guys we end up losing because 3 top 100 players potentially to go into the draft. Let me ask you this, though, Coach Stephen A. I'll get into this with you in the second hour. How many programs would you say are better than UConn in college basketball?
I don't say programs are better. I think they're on a certain level. So when I think of the bluest of bloods in college basketball today, all right, certain schools just have separated themselves. You know, you've got Connecticut, you've got Duke, you've got North Carolina as bluest of bloods, you've got Kansas, You've got UCLA. All right,
Agreed.
That's it.
That's it.
That's the blue bloods of college basketball today, and they've entered that community. And I keep on saying, I mean, since '99, they got 5. Duke's got 3. Carolina's got 3. Kentucky's only got 1. Kansas got 2. That's what it is, especially for this generation of basketball fan.
Well, Coach, look at it this way. That's one way to look at it. I'll tell you something else to really, really validate UConn. You talk about North Carolina, it's Dean Smith, it's Roy Williams. You talk about Duke, it's Mike Krzyzewski. You talk about Kansas, even though Roy Williams was there, he never won a championship there. He won it at North Carolina, but Bill Self delivered the goods on the national championship. So you look at it, obviously Calipari at Kentucky, but there's only 1 title on his watch. Obviously Pitino got 1, Tubbs got 1, okay? So we get all of that. We understand that. When you look at UConn, Jim Calhoun, Kevin Ollie, and now Hurley. Mm-hmm. 3 different coaches delivered you a national title. You know what? Yeah. That says a lot about the university. It says a lot about the program. Because when you have 3 different coaches that can come to the same place and ultimately deliver the goods, not taking anything away from their greatness, but it says something about UConn when you can have 3 different coaches deliver you a title.
For sure. And I just can't wait, and I hope J.J. Redick and Jay Williams, I just want to say to J.J. Redick and Jay Williams, now we've tied Duke with 5, so I can't wait till we pass them, which will happen in the few coming years. But Yeah, I wanted to bring that up to Stephen A. too, like what this does now for the Big East in terms of just Big East basketball. Stephen A., you grew up with Big East basketball being back.
For me, Coach, I'm going to tell you something. It's a beautiful thing because the Big East meant so much to me back in the 80s. When I think about St. John's, Lou Conasecker, I think about Syracuse with Boeheim. I think about Georgetown, obviously, with the late, great John Thompson, God rest his soul. I think about, UConn as well, Villanova with Jay Wright, Raleigh Massimino when they won the title in '85. You get all of this. You see all of this stuff, man. And for me, it's changed when you see some of these teams, the Marquettes, the Creightons of the world, in the Big East. You're like,